What is up, everyone? Brandon Ferst, aka First Report, representing the First Off the Bench podcast network. Everyone comes off the bench. We are First. Welcome in to another edition of the original Call to Post here on the network. We break down everything North American thoroughbred horse racing has to offer for us. And of course, with me, as always, my friend and co-host, Raider Jim Martinez. You can find Mr. Martinez at Raider Jim 1090. How you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. What a great day to talk horse racing. And we got Thursday night football going on. And it should probably be the final thought or a closing thought, but I got to say it out front. Boy, let's everybody stand up and give a round of applause to Shohei Ohtani. That man, he's just another level of ball player. And wow, what an accomplishment. I don't know if you have seen the box score for today's game and what he did today.
I did. I got the alert. I got the alert when it happened from ESPN. Was it a home run? Well, I know he was 49-50. I just don't know if it was home run or stolen base today that he got.
Oh no, he went 5 for 5 with 2 home runs, 2 doubles, scored 3 runs and drove in 7. He hit number 50 and number 51.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, definitely a little bit more than just
All
a home run or
work.
a stolen base. Yeah, goodness gracious. Yeah. And luckily the Padres are doing pretty well, so I can at least enjoy it a little more. I just wish he was on the other side of LA or in Orange County with the Angels. But yeah, good for Ohtani. I mean, he is, if you're a baseball fan, enjoy this, because of all the times you could have been alive to be a baseball fan, you get to see Shohei Ohtani. And yeah, I'm sorry, Babe Ruth is not Shohei Ohtani, but we'll get that. Well, that'll be for another day. But today we are going to be diving into, of course, the horse racing side of things. We are going to focus all our attention on Parx Raceway. I'll be honest, Parx Raceway, obviously not, the first name that you think of in horse racing, especially on the East Coast. About 20 minutes east of Philadelphia. It's a casino and race course. They have their big day this Saturday. We got 5 graded stakes races that we will be diving into. And I will say this is what we call a teaser. I was looking over the Breeders' Cup qualifiers next week, folks. Goodness gracious. It's going to be a little difficult for me to pick and choose what we're going to be talking about to keep it into an hour, 10 minutes like we'd like to. But yeah, we got the ACK and a few others that it's going to be very interesting. So make sure you do tune in next week. But we are going to take a look at what's ahead of us this week. But first, we are going to, of course, look back, do a little bit of housekeeping. Of course, we are a little bit more than almost less than a month away. Let's call it 6 weeks away from Breeders' Cup here right down the road from myself and Raider Jim at Del Mar. Of course, we are punching those win and you're in tickets this week, or last week, I should say. And of course, next week we have plenty of tickets to pass out as well. Woodbine was center stage for that, and we had 3 qualifiers there. And I tell you, before we hit record, I told Raider Jim, goodness gracious, they were. I hope Woodbine, the race course, had plenty of insurance, because they were paying a lot of people out. Well, maybe not a lot of people, but they were paying a lot out to those winners. We'll start with the Natalma. This of course got the winner into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf. And it was one more time. That was a big surprise. The fact that Mark Cassie gets 1, 2, 3, gets his own trifecta, not a huge surprise. I think we said 5 or 6 horses were running in this race for him. Obviously,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, getting in the winner's circle was going to be pretty obvious. But I don't think it was expected to be one more time. Paid out $35.40, $13.80, and $10.50 in that one. And then also we had, let's see, sorry, got to go through. Where is it? There it is. The Summer Stakes. Sorry, I had to go down a little bit. It was the Great Britain horse New Century getting the win. Not a huge surprise, paying out $8.10, $3.60, and $3.10. getting into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, of course, in a few weeks at Del Mar. And then, of course, we had the Woodbine Mile. It was another big win for Mark Casse and another big win for the bettors of that horse. Win for the money. Pays out $29.30, $11.80, 8 even. Raider Jim, your thoughts on really the whole weekend, or any thoughts you have overall for where we are kind of in the season of horse racing? As I said, we're getting very close to Breeders' Cup season.
Yeah, a lot of upsets at Woodbine last week. And at the same time, Mark Casse, I just envisioned this guy standing at the roulette table and he's just putting a chip on every number because he had so many entries on the card that day. And by gosh, he was hitting right and left. So congratulations to him, and can't wait to see what he makes happen out here when he gets to Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup.
Agreed. I think I posed the question last week, would he be at Woodbine or Churchill? And I think we both kind of agreed maybe 364 days out of the year it would be Churchill, but that one day it is going to be Woodbine. I don't know for sure, but I sure hope Mark Casse was there. And full disclosure, this weekend I'm going to have to set an alarm because I'm really bad, especially now on college football Saturdays, of just sitting down and just watching football. And next thing I know, I look up, it's 5 o'clock over here on the West Coast, and I go, I need to see what happened today. So going to have to set an alarm this week to just kind of pull my attention off of the pigskin onto the track, even if it is just for 4 or 5 minutes at a time. But we are going to look ahead at Parx. Of course, five graded stakes races. We are going to start. It is what is going to be race number 8, the Grade 3 Greenwood Cup Stakes. We're going 1.5 miles on the dirt, where this is going to be a 3-turn race. If you're one of those people who like to kind of track that like I am. And then a purse of $200,000. This is for all 3-year-olds and up. Raider Jim, your thoughts on the Grade 3 Greenwood Cup Stakes?
Yeah, not a big field, but not a small field, 10 entries in this one. And I will tell you, from what I've read and what I'm looking at even right now, I haven't changed my mind. You're going to have to decide who's going to get the place and who's going to get the show. And if you're going to go to a superfecta, then you're going to have to figure out who's coming in fourth, because only one horse is going to be on the track that's going to win the race, and that's the 9-horse Next. Next is 3 for 3, not just 3 for 3, 3 for 3 with authority when this horse runs. Fantastic horse. Right now, early morning line is 1 to 5. So this is not a value bet. This is not a value ticket. And really, I don't know if there really is any money to be made in this race after you get past Next. And again, this is just a fantastic horse. I can't get past it. The number 1 horse on the rail, Magic Mike. I like Magic Mike to make a race out of it as far as getting into that in the money, either the place or the show. The other one I like, possibly the number 2 horse, Divernon out of Kentucky. Jose Ortiz is going to be riding that one. And at 10 to 1, there's a little bit of value. 4 to 2 is the odds right now on Magic Michael. And then the other one was the 6 horse, Truculent. Truculent, also a good horse, good competitive. There was some talk, or I've read a little bit, some people have an opinion on the 5 horse Treble Clef. I think Treble Clef is not going to bring the race to this one, but Truculent, the 6 horse, I like Truculent underneath at 5 to 1. Not bad value either, but it's going to be who you want to match with next, because the 9 horse is just the cream of the crop in this one.
Yeah, when I open this up and you're going through, I always just kind of go through and look at the odds straight away. I had to kind of stop and think, hold on, is this a misprint or something like that? And then of course you dive into Next and you realize, this is a horse that hasn't lost since last May. Yeah. That was also the last time it ran in double digits. Even the 2 runs before that were in triple digits. I guess my question for, the connections of this horse is, Are we gonna push this horse into a grade 1? Because this horse has been running in ungraded and, you know, grade 2s and grade 3s. This horse has only ran one grade 1, and it was the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. This was all the way back in 2020. Just to kind of give you an idea, it is a 6-year-old horse. But I guess, you know, go get your win when you can. But what are you doing here? As you said, it's kind of like, okay, who's coming in second? Because, I mean, I even say if you got some, you know, big time bettors, maybe you could find some value. But I don't even know big time bettors can find value at 1 to 5 morning line.
Right.
I can't even imagine what this is going to be when the bell rings. So going off of that, I had those 2 horses that you had as well. Obviously, a lot of the, you know, the betting public will as well, with Magic Michael on the rail. I do like the consistency. My only problem with Magic Michael is his horse is running an ungraded, ran in an ungraded stakes race, ran relatively well, had an 86, and then they put him in optional claiming back-to-back and has really regressed. So that's something just to keep an eye on. But the horse also that I'm very high on, I think, is probably, I don't know if Truculent can run down next. It would probably, I don't want to say take a miracle, but it would take something. I think that horse has a better shot than Magic Michael. One horse just to keep an eye on, it's the 2 horse, Divernon. This is an interesting look. This horse is 10 to 1. Last 2 runs, 92 and 91. One was an ungraded stakes race, and that other, it was all the way back in July, so a little bit of a layoff, but it was a grade 2 Brooklyn. Now, on the other side, it was 15 lengths behind next. So despite running a 91, it's still 15 lengths off of next. So I think the name is very apropos, because when you're betting this race, you're looking after number 1, okay, who's next? Because again, unless you're getting an exotic going or something like that, even that value is going to be pulled down. I do like those other 3 horses, but this is a race that I'm just wondering, are we going to see next in a situation where we do see this horse run in a grade 1 at some point? Because it's been, you know, 4 years since we've seen this horse run, and that was its juvenile campaign. So I think this horse definitely has the ability. I just feel bad for some of the other horses and connections in this race to just kind of look around and go, what are you doing here? This is a grade 3, and you're a triple digit, you know, connoisseur. I mean, I'm looking at Magic Michael, who's, you know, one of our other picks, topped out at 90 in the buyer rankings, or in the buyer speed figures. So big time mismatch in this race. But second still pays, and second and third will pay more than first, if next comes in. I will say that. So moving on to the grade 3 Turf Monster Stakes. We are going 5 furlongs on the turf. This is going to be for 3-year-olds and up. The purse is going to be $250,000. I'll get this one started. Let me see where my notes are here. All right. So the first horse, obviously, I believe is the favorite, Super Quest, at 5 to 2. This is a horse that lives in the 90s and very, very comfortable on the turf. There's our friend Mark Cassie trying to bring his winning to the States. But Super Quest, 5 to 2, not a ton of value right now. Jose Ortiz aboard. I'm hoping maybe the lowest it gets is 2 to 1, but I think this is the best and most consistent horse over the past, you know, year, I would say. After that, we're going to go down a little bit. The 8-horse Senbei, obviously a little bit of chalk here as well, 7 to 2. But again, this is a horse maybe not as consistent as excuse me, Super Quest, but Senbei has ran in the 90s, has been running it, ran in ungraded stakes races, kind of slowly but surely working its way up the graded ranks. It'll be interesting to see what Senbei puts out today, or I'm sorry, on Saturday, I should say. And then the other horse that kind of caught my attention, pure value pick here. Not a huge fan of the consistency here, but at 10 to 1, the 7-horse, 4 Harp. It's I talk about the consistency. Ran in ungraded stakes races, hasn't been incredible. Ran in 80, the best I've seen, and that was last November at Aqueduct. Did run pretty well in Saratoga, an optional claiming race. Again, we are talking about a big jump up from that. And then, of course, ran last time out in an ungraded stakes race. Despite being the favorite, finished fourth, 5 lengths off the lead, only posted a 63. But at 10-1, the horse has shown the ability to run. I'm not going to say in the 90s because it was a 90, but it's shown the ability. 10-1. I think that number does expand. I think you're going to need to look for a little bit of value in this race. Raider Jim, your thoughts on the Grade 3 Turf Monster Stakes?
Yeah, this is a little better race than the last one. You can make a little bit of money on this one. I don't foresee anybody in this field to host a big upset. Of course, that's what I said at Woodbine last week for a couple of those races, and my ticket didn't say paying me $35 on my $2 bet. So let's move on anyway, and I won't lament too long on that. I do like Super Quest in this one, the favorite, 5-2. This seems like a pretty cut and dry pick. Super Quest, Jose Ortiz is going to ride on this one, and then I do like the four horse, Jean Valjean, Pennsylvania horse, very familiar with the track. It's almost like the home field advantage thing. At 9-2, not a bad value. Jay Hernandez is going to be on that one, so also has they all quality riders in this race. And then we have Senbei, the 8 horse, who you hit on. Irad Ortiz is going to be riding that one at 7-2. So you've got a 5-2, a 9-2, and you've got a 7-2. There is one that I might run in there underneath, and that is the 6 horse Allegon. Allegon is not a bad horse at all, has shown good speed, had good races the last time out. At 5-1 is probably going to be the best value for your money if you're looking for something to fill in your ticket. Boats are rocking the 10 horse. There was a time, and at 8-1, there was a time when that horse would have been on my ticket, but just really hasn't lived up to standard the last few races, etc. So I don't think it's going to bring the race like it would have. Of course, 7 years old by racing standards, that is a little bit late compared to this field because everybody else seems to be 4 and 5 years old. So
yeah, it's going to be a very
I like 3 Super Quest, and I do like number 6 Allegon.
Yeah, Allegon definitely almost made it onto my ticket. I just want a little more value with the 4 Harp. The one thing I will say, it's 5 furlongs, so this is a sprint race. I am always a little nervous betting the favorite in a sprint race. Just anything can happen. You only got 5 furlongs. Any mistake magnified over 5 furlongs, as opposed to the last race we just talked about, a mile and a mile and a half or a mile and 3/8, whatever it was. You can make a mistake or two early on, not so much in a 5 furlong. So something to keep in mind. Of course, that was me saying that after picking the favorite, but just something to think about. So moving to race number 11. This is going to be the Grade 2 Gallant Bob. We are going 6 furlongs on the dirt. It's going to be for 3-year-olds with a purse of $400,000. Raider Jim, your thoughts on the Grade 2 Gallant Bob?
Yeah, nice field with 8 entries. There's some familiar jockey names. Some of our guys from Del Mar are out there. They're going to ride this weekend, so that's going to make it exciting. I do think that the morning line favorite, 9-5 right now, Bet Tornado, is going to be the horse that carries it. As I'm looking on my notes, this is the Gallant Bob Stakes, the Gallant Bob Stakes, and the out of the gate, who's going to set the pace? It's the 3 horse, the 4 horse, the 1 horse, and the 2 horse. So definitely, Bet Tornado is in that for getting a good start out of the gate. Probably could set the pace. I don't see anybody causing too much trouble, but you never know. If you look at the morning line odds right now, this is a nice field. This is potential to see the upset and maybe make a couple bucks on this race. I do very much like the 3 horse Bucciarino. Bucciarino is right now at 4-1, which is a little better. That's looking a little better for your betting buck. I also like 5 horse Maximus Meridius. Maximus Meridius, it's going to be Joel Rosario riding that one. Got up a little bit again. Now we're at 5-1. So we've got 9-5, 4-1, 5-1. Then my sleeper in this one is going to be Saffie Joseph's horse, ridden by Mike Smith, the Hall of Famer, number 7, One Sharp Cookie. Good closing speed on this horse. This horse has a lot of fire if they can get the right lane, if he can get the right position. And if you've got a Mike Smith in the saddle, then guess what? You got the guy that knows how to make it happen. I actually think One Sharp Cookie will probably run a better race than the 6-horse Practically Dark, and that's ridden by my other favorite guy, Flavian Pratt. And Mike Smith's horse right now, One Sharp Cookie, is at 6-1, so not a bad ticket for 4 horses there. Bet Tornado at 9-5, not a big value, but Bucciarino 4-1, Maximus Meridius 5-1, One Sharp Cookie 6-1.
I personally, especially after the last 2 races, I really, really like the value in this race. I also do like the 1-horse Bet Tornado, but at 9-5, going to be looking elsewhere. If that gets closer to 3-1, definitely. I think it's by far the, especially what we've seen running lately, very, very high numbers. The consistency does, concern me a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of seeing 69s and 64s mixed in with 87s and 90s, but that's just me. I do really actually like the 7-horse One Sharp Cookie. I don't even really look at this necessarily as a huge value pick. Now, the one thing, obviously, the big time class jump. This is going to be a big class jump for a horse that, just broke its maiden in May, and has been essentially running in, it was 1 allowance and 2 optional claimings. Won those 2 optional claimings, and the speed figures, I think, have shown Saffie Joseph and others in this, connection base that we are ready to go. And for them to get Mike Smith aboard, I think that's going to push them more. I think it could get them closer to the 90, because this is a very good horse. And I think with Mike Smith aboard, it's that veteran leadership. I know people are maybe rolling their eyes like, oh, it's a horse, but no, like they will respond to the jockeys. They might not understand that this is Mike Smith, but they understand this is the person behind, or, on my back. It's me and him. We are trying to get there. So he'll respond to that. I'm really interested to see what One Sharp Cookie can put to the test. I love 6-1 right there. I'd love for it to stay there. Mike Smith name might bring that down a little bit. And then, I'm very, very high on Bucciarino as well. One of the things that really jumped out to me when I looked over this horse, the jump from 2-year-old to 3-year-old for this horse is incredible. In its 2-year-old season, its highest buyer was a 64. And that's ironically when it broke its maiden, and it was at Parx. This horse is 3 for 3 at Parx, but beyond that, so it was running in the, like I said, low 60s to high 50s. This year, 4 runs, 86, 81, 88, 93. I love that progression and that huge jump that we see. We see it in athletics, we see it in sports, the jump from 2nd to 3rd gear or whatever. This horse is the definition of it. I think this horse at 4-1, and obviously the betting public will as well. I think this is a horse you got to keep an eye on. One big time value pick that I also really, really like here is the 4-horse Sunny Breeze. I think this horse is worth a look. It has regressed over the last 2 runs. Not ideal. Was about 9 to 10 lengths off of Bucciarino and Maximus Meridius it was an ungraded stakes race here at this track. But still, at 8-1, I think sometimes this is a sprint race, 6 furlongs, so you can kind of call it a sprint race. Maybe something kooky happens. And I do think Sunny Breezes wants to be one of those 3 at the front. Like I said, if this horse just catches a lane and gets into good position, 8-1, I think it's worth a look. So it's going to be very interesting. So those 4 horses, I got 1, 7, 3, and 4 underneath, but very, very high on One Sharp Cookie. I don't know, just breaking that one down and seeing Mike Smith aboard. it gave me a lot of confidence in this horse going forward. So moving on to the Grade 1 Cotillion Stakes. This is where we start to really hand out some money purse-wise. This is going to be $1 million. It's going to be for 3-year-old fillies going 1.16 miles on the dirt. And I tell you, I think we have the best filly in the world in this race. But Raider Jim, I'm going to give you the honors to get us started on the Grade 1 Cotillion Stakes.
Yeah, hands down, coming back with maybe a little chip on the shoulder, the 6-horse Torpedo Anna, who last time out ran in the Travers and didn't quite get enough room to catch the lead and get that win. Did end up placing, though. But, boy, she went out there and she just left it on the track. This is a different caliber race. There's going to be if the competition isn't there, there's good competition, but by no means is it the Travers caliber that she just went and ran against. Lost to Fierceness in that one. Did best Dornoch and Sierra Leone. So those are pretty good notches on the belt to say, yeah, I took care of business when I had to. And again, just I think it was a half a length she lost by, if it was even a half a length, but made a nice close at the end, just a little, not enough and a little too late. But number 6, Torpedo Anna, already at 4-5. That is your favorite. That's the horse you will probably see in the winner's circle. And who else is going to finish in the money? Well, I think it's going to be that combination I like running out of the 3 spot on Tarifa. That's going to be Brad Cox and Flavian Pratt. And 5-1, not bad value. That's an okay. I like that. I like that a lot. 5-1, you could make some money with that. The other one I like is the horse on the rail, Power Squeeze. Irad Ortiz is going to be riding Power Squeeze at 4-1, and that's a good spot for this horse. And Irad should be able to keep it on the rail, settle back a little bit, do some stalking, and see what's going to happen there. But watch for him to make a run at 4-1. Does he catch Torpedo Anna? Torpedo Anna, probably not. But does he make a race out of it for the place in the show? Definitely. And then my third one that I would like in this race is the 8-horse. And again, it just happens that it's Sappy Joseph and Mike Smith. And at 12-1, there's the high. That's my long shot of the day for finishing in the money. Mystic Lake, horse out of Florida. I like the position for this horse. And again, the ability with Mike Smith on there to get a little more out of that horse than some people might think it can put on the track. So I do like number 6, of course, Torpedo Anna. I like 3, Tarifa. I like 1, Power Squeeze. And I like 8, Mystic Lake.
Yeah, Torpedo Anna is, I mean, one of the top 10 horses, I would say, in the world, not even fillies. This was a horse, obviously, you kind of mentioned it, and I have it listed here, at least according to the DRF. It was only a head that Fierceness was able to take down Torpedo Anna. And Fierceness, according to breederscup.com, is the number 1 ranked Breeders' Cup Classic contender. So that should show you where this horse is. Yeah, this field not anywhere near what we usually see, or well, I'm sorry, not anywhere near what this horse ran in the Travers. No value at 4-5. It's probably going to get closer to 2, maybe even 1-5 when this is all said and done. So looking elsewhere, but still, what an unbelievable horse. Working my way up, obviously Power Squeeze, I think, is the second favorite here. And really going all the way back, is it January? Or all the way back to last October. Power Squeeze has been in the winner's circle. The only time this horse hasn't been in a winner's circle in a race that they've ran, it was Torpedo Anna in the winner's circle. So you can understand why this horse is the second betting favorite. I think it's good enough to finish second, but 6.5 lengths, or I'm sorry, 6 3/4 and 16.5 lengths were the distance Torpedo Anna was able to beat Power Squeeze by. So I don't see that getting, I mean, I might maybe get closer to 4 lengths, 2 lengths, but I don't see anyone beating Torpedo Anna. Again, 1.16 miles. I think Torpedo Anna can make a mistake and still be good enough to recover in this one as long as it's early enough. Working my way down, Tarifa was a horse when we talked about our Kentucky Oaks, You know, this was a horse that I had my eye on, pretty much had the same odds as Torpedo Anna. Obviously, tale of two very different races for those two horses. Tarifa ran, you know, probably its worst race. At least by the buyer numbers, worst race of its career. Finished 18 lengths off the lead. Of course, Torpedo Anna went out and ran into the winner's circle in the Kentucky Oaks. And now we see this horse, Brad Cox, Flavian Pratt. Not too often you're going to see these two combined and you get a 5-1 morning line. I like that. I would like it to even maybe get closer to 6 or 7-1 while everyone is putting all of their attention on Torpedo Anna and maybe Power Squeeze. And then the other kind of value pick here, 6-1, the 5 horse, Sitamara. I think this horse, obviously the speed will need to improve, but it ran very well against Power Squeeze in the Delaware Oaks. It only finished it only finished a nose off of Power Squeeze. Wasn't, you know, a banner run or anything, but I do think this horse has taken enough steps going forward. You got Arrogate as the sire, and then Jose Ortiz aboard with William Mott as the trainer. 6-1, and I very much believe this horse will get closer to 8 or maybe even 10-1. Something to keep an eye on. And I also really did like Mystic Lake as my big time value pick. Not too often you see a 93 and a 95 on the buyer speed in grade 3 and grade 2, and you're getting 12-1. Especially with Mike Smith aboard. I don't know. I don't want to say it feels like a trap, but that's very juicy. And you know, the 8 post position isn't terrible for a horse that probably wants to be on the lead as they get ready to kind of hit that first turn. But I think the Cotillion might be outside of first place. Unfortunately, Next and Torpedo Anna are kind of going to be a lot of chalk. I think you can find some value in a lot of these other races, though, you know, lower down the board. But moving on to our grand finale, this is going to be the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby, another $1 million purse on the line. This is going to be for 3-year-olds, going a mile and an eighth. I'll give my thoughts here first. This is going to be an interesting race. I think of all the races we're talking about, I think this is the most wide open, which is great. The first one I think is the favorite, or the first horse I'm going to be talking about is the favorite. It's Dragoon Guard, 9-5. Look, we're talking about 3-year-olds here, and let's throw out the first run back in 2023. It was against Otto the Conqueror. Dragoon Guard almost ran him down, but it only ran a 66. Since then, so this calendar year, we're talking about an 88, 91, 91, 91. So you can see why this horse is the favorite here. Has raced at a mile and an eighth, and this will be its first graded, upperly graded stakes race, I guess I should say. Grade 3s prior to this. I love the jockey trainer combo here, and it's already beat Stronghold, who is definitely a contender in this race as well. That was in the Indiana Derby. So I really do like Dragoon Guard. However, 9-5, not a ton of value. We're going to look a little bit elsewhere as I find my second horse's notes. And look, I'm going to put my hand up and say a lot of this is bias because of what this horse has done for me this summer. But the 2 horse, Seize the Gray, has won me a good amount of money. I was big on this horse in the Pat Day Mile, went off at 10-1. I took that, put it into the Preakness. This horse was still 10-1, hit that one as well. Struggled a bit in the Belmont, and then struggled in the Jim Dandy as kind of quote unquote come back to earth after that fantastic Preakness run. I don't know. Like I said, this is a horse that I need to kind of put my bias aside, but at the same time, I love this horse and what it's done for me this summer, so it will make it onto my ticket. And I also do think this is somewhat of a class drop, not so much from the Jim Dandy, but definitely from the Preakness and the Belmont. So maybe a little softer competition, not soft, but softer. And then finally, a little bit of, let's call it the long shot of the day for me. Flavian Pratt and Chad Brown. Not too often they're a big long shot, but at 8-1, Unmatched Wisdom, the 8 horse, is a horse that ran in the Travers, but Flavien Prat was not aboard. Flavien Prat, I think, picked a different horse. It might have been on Fierceness. I'm not sure. But it was Irad Ortiz aboard, so not a terrible trade-off there. But the speed numbers dropped. Unmatched Wisdom broke its maiden in its debut, running a 98 in May. Finished that up in an allowance race with a 93, and then won the Curlin Ungraded Stakes race, a 99. All three of those runs with Flavien Prat aboard. I don't know, 8-1. I really, really do like this horse value-wise. Raider Jim, your thoughts on the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby?
Yeah, you said it about a horse in an earlier race that we talked about. Dragoon Guard, this is going to be telling. Now, Dragoon Guard is a beast of a horse. When this horse gets going, nobody's going to catch it. Nobody has caught this horse to point. However, this is going to be the first Grade 1 that it's run in. So this is going to really, this is, time to really add a good one to your resume. Not that it hasn't won and won consistently and won well. And you said it. Number 7, Dragoon Guard, definitely the horse to beat. 9-5, not a lot of value, as you already said. I do like 11 Stronghold, but I think that's going to be the same result as it was the last time it stepped on the track with Dragoon Guard, and that is as good a race as Stronghold ran and showed a lot of firepower. Dragoon Guard still won by 2.5 lengths. So I don't really see how strong that's not going to change. Stronghold's not going to turn around and catch this horse. Seize the Gray, the 2 horse. Anytime I see the Godfather's name up there, D. Wayne Lucas, you pay respects and pay attention. And I like Seize the Gray, like you. But my concern is we've gone winner circle, 7th and 4th. Didn't even finish in the money the last time out. So maybe there's been enough of a breather now. Maybe they've changed up the training a little bit. I didn't get a chance to look at the workouts, but I'm sure that if anybody's going to have the horse ready to go, it's going to be D. Wayne Lucas. So I do like Seize the Gray. And believe it or not, this is one of those where we might have been looking over each other's shoulders, because the 8 horse Unmatched Wisdom is the other horse that I like. I'm always going to take a look at Flavien Prat and Chad Brown or Brad Cox. So Unmatched Wisdom, and at 8-1, you can't beat it. But curious to see if Dragoon Guard comes out and really just, puts the stamp on it and take care of business the way it has been so far in his career. And if so, you got a 3-year-old that could be one of the best 3-year-olds we've seen in 2024.
I agree. I mean, I'm looking over Dragoon Guard's, not just the speed figures, but the quarter pole placing, if you will. The last 3 races this horse has ran, every quarter pole, this horse is in first place. This is in the last 4, every single one of its races has been by 2.5 or more lengths. So maybe it is a little bit of a question. Now maybe Stronghold isn't the greatest example because already had it shot at Dragoon Guard and didn't run terribly well. But what if Seize the Gray is looking this horse in the eye at the the half-mile mark? Does this horse, it's been a little while since another horse has been able to kind of be right there with him. I don't know. And maybe Seize the Gray isn't the greatest example. No, I'm sorry. Yes, this Seize the Gray does get out pretty quickly. So that'll be interesting. The one thing now, obviously, I didn't mention Stronghold, and it's not because I'm overlooking this horse. It's a lot of kind of what you said is, look, Stronghold is probably not good enough to beat Dragoon Guard. And at 5-2, I don't really want to pay to see this horse place because it's just not going to pay. So that's just kind of the reason why I left that horse off my card. Nothing against that horse other than the fact that the odds don't really line up. And I think very similar value with Dragoon Guard, which I feel very confident. And you're right, though. This is a horse, if this horse wins, puts it kind of up there with the 3-year-olds. And I don't think we're going to see this horse at Breeders' Cup weekend. I don't think it's qualified, and I might maybe in a few weeks, but we are getting kind of up close to no more tickets being handed out. So just kind of looking ahead there, but big test for Dragoon Guard in its first Grade 1, especially considering you got the Preakness Stakes champ in this race. So something to keep in mind there. But Raider Jim, any final
Yeah,
thoughts on the race?
just for
Yeah.
fun. Well, just for fun, I looked up Seize the Gray to see how the workouts are going, and it's almost like they're isolating Seize the Gray. It's the only horse on the track. Maybe there's two others that morning when they're taking the times, but there's a lot of just running by himself. So I don't know if that's an indicator of anything, except that Mr. Lucas doesn't want him out there with everybody else. He just kind of wants to give him his space, give him his time. So we'll see. That could be a real fresh horse when it hits the track.
Yeah, I noticed that too. When you did mention the workouts, I looked them up on the DRF, and yeah, I think I think they had 6 posted, and the most was there were 3 horses, including Seize the Gray, that ran at that distance. So, and look, I'm not great at math and stuff where I look at a 5 furlong split and I can just immediately go, oh, that's this tier. I don't know. So a lot of times it is, oh, there were 25 horses running at this distance and it ran 4th fastest. I do know that type of math. Unfortunately, when Seize the Gray's the only one running 5 furlongs, the times don't do anything for me, or at least the workouts don't. But we have at least seen this horse. And as you said, a fresh horse. And if any trainer you're going to have faith in, as you said, it is D. Wayne Lucas, who has probably forgotten more about horse racing than a lot of us ever will know. But Raider Jim, your final thoughts for this episode of the original Call to Post?
Exciting. Hard to believe that we're already closing in on talking about the Breeders' Cup. And that's going to be a lot of information to disseminate out there to the listeners. But I'm looking forward to it. And what an exciting time of year for horse racing, especially more so, I'm sure, because it's right here in our own backyard.
Amen. Yeah, it's special. Horse racing always special, but the Breeders' Cup, that first weekend in November, and for it to be right down the road, very, very excited. My final thoughts, just continuing. We are now, and I'm knocking on wood as I say this, but it is September 19th. And I don't know, let's just say this is our 20th show of the calendar year. I don't know the exact number, but it's been up there. I am very, very grateful that we have gotten this far, and I don't think we've had a situation where we've had to, and maybe there was early in the year, pre-Derby or anything, but I'm just thinking post-Derby, we haven't seen any fatalities, at least major. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that everything's going great, but compared to where we were last year, if you listened to us last year, I mean, it was almost to the point where it was like we were logging on and it was like, all right, let's get this first 5 minutes over with. We got to address it. And then we'll get into the quote unquote fun stuff. I'm just very, very grateful that we haven't had to do that this year selfishly. And then obviously for all the equine athletes and all the connections as well, because again, I go back to Safi Joseph last year and that horse, and I don't, the name does, but just the emotion and all of that. I do think one of the biggest misconception of horse racing is you look at trainers, and there are going to be some bad apples, but I think as a whole, the horse racing community cares so much about these horses. And I think we're starting to kind of see the fruits of that. And I'm also hoping that is part and parcel with the government's effort with the Horse Racing Safety and Integrity Act. Haven't really seen a whole lot about that, but you know what? It's fine. If we don't have to talk about the bad stuff, then I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're doing their job. I don't do that too often with the government.
About
but
a little
I will
behind
in
this
this situation. Yeah.
A little behind the scenes, try to get a hold of somebody in the government to talk to you about the Horse Racing Safety and Integrity Act, because I have tried and tried. And boy, I'm not even getting, you're not worth our time. They just flat out don't answer. So, and it's too bad.
Yeah.
It would behoove them
but at the same time,
to have some.
Go for it.
Oh, I was going to say it would behoove them to do something and make themselves a little more visible and be willing to talk.
Yeah. And I've always said, from the beginning of it, it was a law or bill or whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I had civics, but that it was co-sponsored by a Democrat from New York and a Republican from Kentucky. I mean, that is the most bipartisan bill you can ever get. And I know it's, and it's election year and a very volatile, but once again, a New York Democrat and a Kentucky Republican are agreeing on something in 2024. Let's broadcast that to the world. But anyways, with that being said, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the original Call to Post here on the First Off the Bench Podcast Network. Everyone comes off the bench. We are first. It is time for you all to go wash your hands and stop hating everybody. We'll talk to you all very soon. Have a great weekend. Take care.